first thing we want to do is find our meeting that we already created. Let's just go and search using the meeting functionality. So left side of the screen here, we're going to select meeting. And then we're just simply going to search for meetings. And we're going to hit search, and you should have your meeting come up. Pulling your meeting up, I'll just show you, if we hover over our meeting title, you get a really quick look at the meeting, what's inside the meeting. So the meeting details, if you think of it like that. So again, I'm just hovering over the title of the meeting, and I can see it's currently in progress because we haven't completed it yet. Okay, I can see the type of meeting it is, when submission closed, how many attendees are. So if you had a meeting and you were assigned, let's say 20 attendees and only 18 said they were attending, they replied that they're attending, you'd have 18/20. So that's just what that means there. These are all the meeting items assigned. So that could be applications, milestones, as we can see, no projects, forms, other notifications. So we know we've got one application assigned, one milestone, which is our progress report, and 3 forms. So 2 amendments and the safety notification. So we've got our item count here, and that's 5. 3 + 2 is 5. Fantastic. It looks good. We haven't yet recorded any approvals. So that's what we're going to do during this session. We're going to record our approvals here, and we're going to close up this meeting. So just again, if you're ever looking at your meeting and you have a few sitting there, you can always just hover over and have a look at the details there. We want to go into this meeting. Best way to do that is editable. So we click the edit meeting icon. I'm just going to quickly talk about these buttons here as well. The tick will complete your meeting. We're not going to do that from outside the meeting. We want to go in the meeting. The little kind of arrow pointing around the corner here, that's circulating the meeting. We've already done that. And this will make your meeting inactive, which we don't want to do at this point. So we just want to go ahead and edit our meeting here. So again, we can follow kind of the preparation here as well. We can see that meeting created and it's got some items assigned to it. So again, this is just a bit of a progress bar here. And you'll see as we go through when we start to finalize the differences we see there as well. So you can add notes or comments in meetings in 2 sections. The first being this meeting details section, which is on the screen here. Any notes that we add here, they don't feed through to your meeting minutes or meeting emails. This is purely kind of a working notes section for you guys, okay? This is something the research office can put any notes they need to here. If you need to then pop it into, say, for example, your meeting email or into your meeting minutes, copy and paste into it. This is just working notes if you want to think about it like that. The second way we can do notes, and I'll just minimize this again, just using the little arrow. I'll go to applications. And you've got, it looks like the edit icon, but it is a note icon on this row. So we're in the applications, okay? And we've got a note option here, note icon. If we click on that, we have the option to add a note. So there are 2 spots we can do that. Again, the meeting details and in the applications. Oh, you can also do it, I should say, in milestones and forms, and I'll show you as we go through. Notes added here will appear on the meeting minutes, but won't pull into a meeting email. So again, if you need something to pop into an email, it's copy and paste, but the notes you add here under milestones or forms, these will populate into the meeting minutes that we generate in the system. And all we're going to say is approve outside of meeting. Again, anything you do allocate to a meeting or assign to a meeting, if you request information for it, it should then be reassigned to another meeting in order for you to process it. The reason I'm saying approve this outside of the meeting is purely time frame. You know, it goes back and forth. I don't want to have this meeting open all throughout the whole session for us. I want to close it off soon. So realistically, you would reassign it to the meeting, but for this training session, I'm going to just do it outside of the meeting, and I'm going to hit save. What we're going to do is we're just going to go ahead and we're going to record some decisions now. We'll work from the left to the right. So application. So we've got an email icon here. That means we can send an email for this particular application from within the meeting. The eye icon, if we click, it takes us to the actual application. This will allow us to provide a decision, the gavel icon. We've looked at the document management icon here, a little page with a folded edge. Manage attendees icon, which we've played with, and just the notes one we had a look at. Delete will remove the row. So that's what those icons are. So we want to touch now on the manage decisions. So once I click on that gavel icon on that application row, I have some decisions to provide here. So this is a two-parter here, and I'll break it down for us so we have a good understanding. So the first decision row, it's asking what type of decision we want to create. We want to create a more information required decision for this particular application because we're going to send a request for information. If I was approving or not approving this study, I would use the application decision. And we've already got assigned to a HREC meeting. We don't need this one. So you're either approving or not approving, or you're requesting information. So we want to select more information required. Now that we've selected the type of decision, we now need to provide the decision. So that second row is asking, are we going to create a more information required form? That means the applicant does not edit their application. They do not edit any submitted documents. They're purely providing us with some written correspondence. Or do we ask them to update their application and any documents in it? Approved pending further information. The reason I'm going to use this particular request for information is because I think the decision pending further information is a very common process that you guys would be using. 9 out of 10 times you are going to most likely be asking your applicant to edit the application form in some way or even the submitted documents. So if you're not familiar with the other type of request for information the system has, I'll show you this. So what we've got here is more information required, approved pending further information. At this point, we'd want to be really specific with what we want from our applicant. Obviously for training, it's not really going to want anyone except us. So we're just going to say more info needed. In reality though, guys, obviously you want to be super clear so your applicant answers exactly what you want. You don't have to go back and forth, hopefully, and we hit save. And we're going to continue this on. We're going to go through and do that for our milestones and forms. So just quickly though, in the outcome, you can see now that we've provided an outcome here. Okay, so we can see that on the screen. So we don't need to save as we go. We're just going to move through and then we'll save our progress. So next we're going to go to the milestones header. We won't write a note for this, that's fine. We're just going to use the gavel icon. So next to the I on the right of it, the gavel icon here, manage decision, and kind of the same process. So we've got a progress report. We're just going to note it. We're happy with the progress report. So we're going to click the first decision row. It isn't a status change. It wasn't a final report. We've reviewed it. We know it was just an annual progress report. So we're just going to select the annual progress report. And then underneath that first decision, we're then going to say noted. Really nice and easy, this one. We're just going to approve that one straight away. Noted. No reason needed. And we're just going to hit save. Lastly, we're going to go to forms. So we're going to go forms and we're going to do the same scenario for each of these ones. Be very careful when you complete this particular section because with our amendments, what you'll notice is that there are a few different decision types and what you provide will kind of stick for the next one. I'll show you what I mean. So my very first one is a general amendment, okay, and we're just going to go gavel icon. Same thing, we're going to go decision. So here's where we have to be really, really careful because with amendments in the back end of the system, if I have a general amendment, I want it approved as a general amendment. If I have a change in PI, CPI, and they say, look, it's an amendment form, it's not going to update any details in the back end upon approval. So the system understands that certain contact roles will update upon approval. So this is why it's really, really important when we're processing amendments in the system, we use the correct decision type. So amendment form is what you use for a general amendment. So I'm on that general amendment row. I'm going to use amendment form. Underneath that, with this one, it's straightforward. We're just going to approve this. So we're saying approved, no comments necessary, and we hit save. So next one we have again is an amendment, but it's our change in CPI and PI admin contact. On that second row with the dark brown tag here, I'm going to click the little gavel icon again. And this is something to be really, really mindful of. If you have a lot of amendments that you're processing via a meeting, it'll save the last decision type that you've provided. So we wouldn't leave an amendment form because if I approve this change in CPI PI and I say it's an amendment form, the system doesn't understand that it should be kicking over some workflows in the back end of the system. So we've got to be really mindful. So I know that I've just selected this row, so I'm going to update this decision here. And I'm going to make sure it's that change of contact here, PI CPI. With this particular one, change of PI CPI, we're going to request some information so I can show you what an amendment looks like when it goes back to the researcher. So let's click on decision pending request for information. And again, we're going to be really basic. We're going to say more info needed. Obviously, if this was reality, we'd be really clear with what we want to come back from the researcher so we don't have to go back and forth. For training, we're just keeping it simple. The reason we're adding here, it's going to pull into that email notification as well. So when we get ready to send these emails off, we've got the information here of what we expect from our researcher. It's going to pop into the email template. So that's another reason we put it in here. We hit save. And then lucky last, we've got our safety notification. It's an SSI, so significant safety issue. And we're going to click on the gavel icon again. So next to that I, see what I was saying? It's come through as the last decision type we've selected. So again, we're going to be really mindful when we're completing it in the meeting. Click that, and we're going to go to safety notification. And with our safety notification, we're happy. We're just going to acknowledge it. Once we're happy with that, we hit save. And we'll make sure we save all of our progress in the top right-hand corner here by hitting save as well. Yes, the meeting is in the past, I understand. There we go. We can see the outcomes we provided so far. They've all been applied. Okay, noted there. And we've got the outcome of approved pending further. So that's what we want to see. We want to see that we've provided our outcomes here, which we have. Excellent. Okay, what we're going to do next is let's go ahead and generate our draft minutes. Top of the screen, we need to make it editable. So edit from the right hand side of the screen here. And just like we did earlier, we did the generate agenda. We're going to generate the minutes now. So we just simply click on that and it's just gone and downloaded in the top of my screen here. So I'm just going to open that. What we've got here is a basic template. So we've got our meeting minutes, the date, the type of meeting. It's not completed yet. And we can see who's attending so far. Very similar, all the yellow text is just manually added data. And as we move through the form here, okay, we can see any comments we would have made here. So what we've got here, progress report here, got our amendment there, approved outside of meeting here. So approved outside of meeting. So that's the application that we added as well, saying we're approving it pending further information. What I'm going to do, I'm just going to save this to my desktop. Just going to close it. And what we're going to do is we're going to go to meeting documents and other business, and we're just going to add this meeting minutes template. So I'm just going to navigate to that header, add document, and I'm going to find that document. So again, when you select a document, you have to then upload it. Before I upload it though, I just want to tidy up anything in here that I need to. Meeting minutes meeting. So I'm going to say meeting minutes, tidy it up a bit just to show you. Instead of acquittal report, because it's not an acquittal report, we're going to start typing meeting, and you'll have the meeting minutes as an option as well as a document type. Simply hit upload, and that just saves in there. Let's go ahead and now process our decisions. So just to make life easy, we're going to work again from left to right, and we'll work our way from the application to the milestone to the forms. Clicking on applications. Okay. So by processing decisions, what I mean by that is we're going to send off the emails. Once we send those emails off, it's going to then give the emails notifications to our applicants to either say, great, everything's been processed, it's approved, or more information is required. So starting with our application, we know that we are requesting information. So what we do is nice and easy. We click this email icon on that row. If I had multiple applications here that were all ready to send an email through to the applicant, I would absolutely be using this bulk select option, which I'll be able to show you in forms. But this is just a tip. Don't send one by one. It's going to take a long time, and I'll show you what I mean. Once we get to forms, it's going to really show you the difference if you're not using it already. So on the application row, we use the email icon, and we can just tidy up. So all I'm looking for in the template, guys, is I'm just making sure I haven't left anything in there that really doesn't need to be in there. Just looking, everything looks good to me. This is just letting the applicant know that the application and submitted documents are not required to be edited. A more information required form is being created for them to complete a response. I'm happy with this. I'm going to go ahead, hit the tick here. That's going to send off that email to my applicant. So I'm going to go click, finish that up. As soon as I send off an email, I'm processing that decision, I get taken back to, I like to call it the homepage, the attendees page. So we were on the application, we sent that email, we can see it's been sent by this little paper airplane here. Okay, that means email sent. As soon as I send that, I get taken back to this page. You're going to see that happen again for milestones. This is why it's really, really useful to use the bulk functionality, which I'll be able to show you in Forms. So let's click on the milestones header. And we're going to just keep going through. We're going to send that email. So email icon, progress report noted and achieved. All right. Do not remove this bolded text here, guys. This is really, really, really useful and important in this particular email for progress reporting because Regis uses one form for New South Wales and ACT, Hatrix, and sites to provide reporting, progress reporting. So it's a single progress report form. So this email template says each authorized site in Regis has been notified and will only contact you if they require more info. This notification is to be accepted on behalf of the Hatrix and New South Wales sites listed in the form, so the progress report form. So all of the related PIs would be included in this email. Okay, so that's why this is really, really important because they know they don't have to submit a separate progress report form. One is submitted, it'll then have a decision created for your research governance officers for the related sites, and then they can review the site-specific data in the progress report. Once we're happy with this, I'm pretty happy with that. It's not much in there. I'm going to hit the tick. And that's going to send that email off. And you're going to see it's going to pop us back to the front page, which I'm going to call the home page, which is the attendees section there. And you'll see that in a moment. Okay, so see how it's gone back to this very first page there. And if I click on the milestone, you can see the email has been sent. Now I get to show you via forms. So click on the forms header. This beautiful functionality, if you're not using it, please go ahead and use it, which is the bulk select functionality. So if we click on that gold row, the checkbox, okay, so you can see it's selected 1, 2, 3, all of the forms on this page. You have the send email option now to the left of the screen here. I click send email. And what it's going to do, as you can see at the top of my screen here, it's going to preload them. So we're going to have email 1, 2, 3. So amendment, safety notification. I go through and I edit it. So this is our general amendment that we approved. So again, I see some colored text in here. This is for your reference. You should really be looking at this and then just removing it as appropriate. So you're just tidying it up here. I've got one. I've edited it. I'm happy with that. I'm going to go to the next email template using the arrow here on the right side of the screen. Next, same thing, colored text. I'm just going to kind of delete something here. Okay, please stress the following. Okay, so again, just tidy, having a look. All right, so there's a change. So PI change, more info is required. Okay, cool. That's going to go to the applicant, let them know the amendment form is going to become information requested. Great. Again, edit as necessary, and we move on to the last email template. So we've gone through 2 email templates. Lucky last here. All right, that looks good. I'm not really going to touch anything here. I'm happy with that. I'm going to go ahead and hit the tick now on the side here. So once I hit this green tick, it's going to send all of the emails I've gone through and edited in one go. So click on that. This is why it's really, really useful, guys. If you're not using it, I highly recommend you giving it a go the next time you have a meeting created and you need to send some decision emails off. It's going to save you so much time. So see how it's taken me back to the attendees again. If I go to forms, we can see the emails have all sent. So it's kind of just in that one go. You get to edit the templates as you go through. Once you make it to the end, tick, send, they all go at the same time. So really, really, really useful in that way. I think it's a time saver. To be completely honest, it's probably the way I'd really want you guys going as well. Whew. All right, guys. What we're going to do next is we sent 2 requests for information. One was for an amendment and the other was for our application. I'm just going to quickly check my email to see if my email has come through. All we simply do is, and I'll zoom in, we're just going to click on the link. So it says to click on the link and navigate to forms. It's going to open a new tab at the top of the screen. And my email said to navigate to forms. So remembering, guys, we're now in the researcher side of things. We've gone to the external portal and we're just going to respond to the request for information from the research office. So what we want to do is, the email did say navigate to forms, and I can see I've got a forms header here. So what I want to do is just click on it, and there should be a request for information form there. So we'll have a look at that in a second, and there it is. I can see we've got the form here. It's in progress. Owner is me as the CPI. I'm in ethics. Okay. It was created on this day, so there's been no changes at this point. So what I want to do is simply click on this title here. And it's a really basic form. It's just a big free text box. That's all it is. The research office asked for more info needed. Okay. And a response here. So all I'm doing is kind of responding to the request for information from my research office, and I'll just show you that it's a pretty big form, guys. So there's a lot of room to kind of put, as much data as you need in there. So don't be afraid if you're thinking they might not be able to respond to the request for information. You might want to use this particular scenario, guys, if maybe you honestly just need some clarification. There is no edits needed to the application form. There are no edits needed to the application forms. You purely just want some written correspondence. This is what I recommend. If you send an email outside of the system, you're not telling the system that it's with the researcher. It's still going to show that it's with you. By using this option, you are saying it's out of the research office hands, it's with your researcher. So when you select a request for information, the system clicks over and goes out of research office with researcher. So just something to be mindful of. And what we're going to do now, we're going to hit submit. So that form has been submitted. What I want to show you is, if we go, say, back to application details, I want to show you the status of the application as well. So information provided. If we had selected the other type of request for information and it was resubmitted, it gives us the same status. This particular status is really, really useful because it also pulls into your tile that something has come back from a request for info. Doesn't matter if it was a edit to the application form or what we've just done, which is provide more information via a form. It's going to come back in the same status. There is no other status it can come back to. It's going to come back as information provided. The next one we have here is our amendments. So same scenario, go having a read of this, we're the applicant. All right, we've got to provide information against an amendment we submitted. Okay, more info. I know that once I click on this link, I'm going to have to click that form header again. So click on the link, it's going to open a new tab at the top of the screen. From here, it's an amendment. So amendments are created for approved studies, which we can see. We're going to click the forms header. We were told in the email that it would be information required, so we can see that that's this particular amendment here. It also did have the identifier in there as well. All we need to do, click on that. It's going to take us into the amendment form in an editable version. Let's just go to the next page. So hit next. Let's put some more information here. Perhaps we didn't put enough information, so I'm just going to say more info here. And I'm not going to touch any of these other sections. Go to the declaration. And we're simply going to hit this submit button, and it's going to submit back to the research office. So again, even your amendment, information provided, it's been submitted back to the research office. So what we're going to do at this point, we're going to process our amendment first, and then we're going to go ahead and finalize the approval for our ethics application. And you still should have your meeting open here. In your meeting, we're just going to complete the meeting. We want to close it off. We've done everything from the meeting perspective that we needed to. You'll have your meeting still open, and all you simply do is hit this complete meeting just at the top of the screen here. Complete meeting. Yep, I want to complete it. So you're pretty much tying up your loop there, guys. You don't want to have any active meetings running in the system. You kind of want to finalize your meetings. Just let you know that you've done all the actions required for that meeting. It's now complete. So what we want to do, yes. And that's just going to close that meeting up. Okay, so the meeting is completed, as we can see to the right of the screen. We can see we've got our progress bar has gone all the way through to completion. If you accidentally complete a meeting too early, you can reactivate it. You just hit that button. Okay, reactivate meeting, but I'm going to go ahead and complete that. First thing we want to go through now is looking at our amendment, and we want to go ahead and approve that. I will navigate to our homepage tiles. So I want to go through the amendment first because it's going to be a quicker one to close off and approve, whereas the application I'm going to spend a little bit of time just talking through it a bit. So we've got an ethics amendment tile, information provided. So I've got a lot of amendments here, so I'm going to try and find mine, and I'm hovering over it and I can see it. This particular tile will show you any time an ethics amendment that you've requested information for has come back with a response. So someone's updated based on what you've asked and they've resubmitted the amendment. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to click on that. And that's going to take me into the amendment there, so related forms. An ethics amendment homepage tile is a forms tile, and that's why it's taken us directly to related forms. Just a little bit of a tip there if you didn't know. When you have a lot of amendments, the best thing to do is the one you're processing, just note the number down, note the identifier down somewhere. It's going to be easy for us because we've only got 2 unapproved and 1 info provided. It'll be easy to see. But if you've got a lot of amendments there, some have been submitted or such, and you don't know which one you're reviewing, related forms, have a look at the ID here, note it down. That's going to help you select the correct decision. Just another tip, the arrow pointing down will only download the amendment form. The cloud will download the package. So it'll download the amendment as well as the amendment submitted documents with it. I don't think you guys have this option here. This is a Regis and F1 kind of admin option, so don't worry that you don't see that. That's purely for the back end there. So what we want to do is download the package using the cloud icon. So just click on that. If I open this up, and I'll just show you guys, I can see I've got more information here. Fantastic. Okay, looking through this, great. Amendment form looks good. This is who the new PI would be. So what we're doing here really is we've reviewed the amendment form again, the request for information that's come back. I'm happy with what the applicant's provided. I think everything is good there. What we're going to do, guys, is we're going to navigate now to our decisions. We're going to create that amendment decision and provide it and approve this particular amendment. So in this left-hand menu under management, we go to decisions. We're going to have to make our page editable as well because I can see there's no edit option here. So edit from the right-hand side of the screen. And we're going to add a decision to create it because we can't update this one. Okay, it's already had an outcome provided. If we were to try and override that, it's not going to do anything. It's not going to affect the form. Okay, so we have to add another decision. So add decision under that decision header here. Okay, I don't touch a due date. I'm just going to put the type in. So remember, it's really, really important we choose the correct amendment type. So this one is a contact change. Remember, it's a PI, change of PI. So we want to make sure we use the correct amendment type. So we're going to select that one with the PI change because once we select this and we approve it from ethics, we're really noting it. It's going to create a decision for governance. So that site where that PI is going to change, they will review the new PI. They'll do their checks. Once they approve the new PI, that's when the system will then update the PI contact details. So if we don't select it correct at this point, it's going to do nothing. Once we've selected that with a little check there, we select the tick at the bottom and we can see it's amendment form with contact change. We then get the option to select the form. So if I select that drop down, this is why I said this one's a little bit easy because we've already got 2 approved and we're just waiting for 1 to approve. If you have a lot of amendments that are information provided or submitted, that's when it's really, really useful, guys, to go to related forms. Note down the specific number because you can see you've got the number option here as well. So that's just a tip there as well. If you get a few coming in, just note it down somewhere, even notepad on the computer, just to make life easy. So this is the one I want, information provided. I won't put a user, I'll show you guys how to override. So we'll hit save. So again, it's just saving. I can see it's got a progress going on here. It's green, I want to see it black. Before I formally approve this though, I want to make sure that I include the PI, CV and amendment form in the approval there. So let's go ahead and select document on that row. Easiest way to know which row we're talking about, you do have the amendment form contact change here with no outcome because we haven't provided an outcome yet. We've created the decision. We need to then now provide the decision. So this outcome is blank. So on that row, select the little page with the folded edge. Let's see if I can give you a good tip here. So under related entity to the right of the screen here, it's the last row here. Let's click on forms. Then we get a project form drop down and we're going to click notification of amendment to research study and we're going to hit find. So that's going to pull only the documents related to that amendment. That's just a little tip there, guys. So I'm going to include them both in the approval. I just want to show you how it looks. So we're going to include both of them. So I just multi-selected using the top. You can just click, and then we select the tick at the bottom. That'll save all the changes we've just done. It's going to allocate those two documents into the approval there. We select the tick at the bottom. Remember the blue text, that means I have to save some data because it's not black. So what we're going to do is hit the save on the right-hand side of the screen. Okay, and we can see we've allocated two documents there. You could allocate yourself as the user to provide the decision, but when you're in here and you want to do it quickly, there is a way to do that. We're ready to now provide the outcome. On that row, select the edit icon. And you can override the outcome. That just means you're providing it without having to add yourself as the user. So it's just a quick way. It doesn't mean it's right or wrong. It's just a way to do it quick. So you select the override outcome toggle. And you've got the outcome here and you're going to say noted. And I'm going to hit save. There we go. So approval's been saved. It's noted. Last thing we want to do is we want to go ahead and we want to send that email. So it's fantastic that we have approved it, but if we don't send that email, your applicant's only going to stumble across this approval by accident. So you don't want them calling you. Let's go ahead and finish off this little loop. And on that row, we're just going to go across and click on the email icon. And we can see it's PI change approved. That's what we want to see. From there, again, colored text, guys, it's something to just be mindful of. We have to include both responses here. So you can see delete this if it's PI change. So that's CPI details there. So I'm going to get rid of that. So just be mindful when you're completing amendments or approvals or such that you just want to make sure you've tidied up the template. You just don't hit send. Just take a second to look through it, tidy it up a little bit. I can see it's pulled through the documents. Fantastic. Right, happy there. Tidy that up. I'm happy with that. So I've just taken a second, had a quick look at it, cleaned out some colored text that I don't need. So we give you an option for A or B, gotten rid of B, happy with this now. I'm just going to hit send on this and that's going to close that loop off. All right, so what we can see here, I've got a tick. Why don't I have a tick for the others? Because these were processed in a meeting. So when certain things are processed via a meeting, you can see that by the lack of a tick, but also you can tell it has been processed because you can see the outcomes have been provided. You could always check related documents too to see if the email has sent, but when you process something from within the application or project, in this instance, you'll see a tick showing that the email has been sent. On to the last one, let's do it. So I'm gonna just, out of habit, I'm just gonna close that. I will travel to the homepage tiles. We should see this in our information provided tile, and let's have a look. Just remembering, guys, this tile works based off a status. So it knows that any application that has been received into the system in the status of information provided will pull into this tile here. And all we simply do is we click on it and it takes us into the application. What we're going to do first here is we're going to have a look at the related documents because I want to see that more information required form that came back. Go to the management header within the application. We expand that and we're going to go to related documents. Not a big study, whew, lucky for us. What we can see here is we've got all of our documents related to this specific study. So this ethics study here. If this was a really big study, I was going to give you a tip, but it's pretty obvious on the screen here. This more information required document type. So this is our document type row. this can't be chosen by an applicant, okay? This is only ever created if you guys send a request for information, approved pending further information for ethics, and governance, it's recommendation pending further information. So your applicant cannot choose this document type. This is how you can identify if this request for information has come back with more info using the form. You can use the document type. So for example, you just type more, you'll have that. Then you hit search and it's going to pull up that one document. So just a little tip there, but I'll just clear this out. I'll reset my filters here because I want to see all my documents. If I click on it, it's going to open on the page because it's a PDF. So you could see I clearly was having a great day and it was submitted by me as the CPI. So I responded to the request for information, but that's all this is. It's just a basic form here. You can download it if you want. I just want to show you another tip, guys, that makes life a bit easy when you're selecting the approved documents to go ahead and send that approval. We're going to add some tags, make our application editable using the edit icon in the top right-hand corner. So the reason we're going to add tags is because when we go and complete the approval before we send the email, and that's where we select our approved documents. So to make life easy, I want to add some approved tags. When we're selecting the approved documents, I personally would not be selecting the HARIA because the HARIA is going to be visible regardless. I would be selecting my pick form and my questionnaire because that's going to be used for the study activity. I would not be selecting a review report. Study protocol, yep. Project registration, no. So what we're going to do, let's keep it really simple. Let's look for our pick form and let's add a tag and let's start typing approved in. So all you do is click on it. So if that was too quick, I'll go to the next one, which is questionnaire. Click on the add tag section. If you don't see it, make your page editable. But all you do, add tag and start typing approved. See all these approved? Trish, who's Trish? Approved. So I want to approve our pick form, our questionnaire, and our study protocol. So add tag, approved, nice and easy. So what I'm going to do here, I'm happy with that. We're going to create our approval decision and provide it. So all we do is navigate now to decisions. We don't have to save this because these automatically save as soon as you add them. And you can always get rid of them just using the little X, but we'll leave them here. And now we go to decisions from the left-hand menu. And we're going to create our ethics approval decision now. Under decision header, we're going to select add decision. We're going to select the type of decision. So anywhere on this row you can select, or you can click three dots. It does exactly the same thing. And we're providing a final decision now. So more information required is when we need more info. We don't need to send it to a HREC meeting. We want to provide a final decision now. So application decision is what we want. So we select that by clicking anywhere on this application decision section. We then select the tick at the bottom. And you can see we've got the type as application decision. We don't need to add the user again. We're going to go ahead and override it. In notes, these are working notes. This will not pull through to your email template. Okay, I'll show you where you can add notes if you want them to pull through. This is just working notes. Anyone in your office that has access to ethics will see it. No one else will see it though, only the research office. So we just want to add the type of application decision, hit save. Okay, and we can see we've got no outcome yet. We don't select the documents at this point. I'll show you where we do it. So we don't do it at this point. We're just going to create that decision, which we've done, and we're going to provide it. So on that row, we select the edit icon. Let's just override the outcome again. And we're going to say approved. Not approved means they have to start all over again. We're going to say approved. No comment here necessary, and we're going to hit save. And we're going to see the top right-hand corner status change as well. Before we approve it, I just want to show you where it now will live in this particular status in your homepage tiles. So this is really a useful tile for anything you've approved or authorized, but you haven't finalized by sending that email. Based on the outcome we've just done, our studies are sitting here. All right. So once we did that, status changed to approved pending decision email. We can see we've got now to the right of the screen a little tick in a circle. That's our decision pending generation. That's the last kind of step we need to do. So let's go to that. And this is where we select the approved documents. It's really, really important, guys, from an ethics point of view that we don't skip this part. If you don't add any documents here and you go through, you send the email and you manually write all those documents in, they are not going to be shared with anyone. Okay, they're going to be invisible to related sites and invisible to your researcher. This is a very important part because this has such flow-on effects to not only your researchers, but your related sites. How we add the documents is really nice and easy. Under application documents, we've got add application documents. Simply hit that button. That's why we added our tags. So if we scroll down, we're going to look for our approved tags. So I'm going to just simply look for all the ones that say approved and select them. Think of the approved documents as this. If I have a study protocol and I need to amend it, I need it to be an approved document so I can amend the version. The master questionnaire, if that needs to be amended, I need to be able to select it. It's an approved document. I'm never going to amend my review report. I'm never going to amend the project registration. So just have a think about what you're selecting at this point, because really you don't need to select the more information required. You don't need to select the hires. They're never getting edited again. And emails, you don't need to approve those. So I've got a pick form, questionnaire, and I've got a protocol. So I've selected 1, 2, 3 because my tags are really nice and easy to see. Select. Now we can send the email. So send email. So if you had forgotten that step and you didn't add any documents and you just wrote them all down here, okay, great, looks pretty, doesn't do anything system-wise though. So you have to understand that the system needs prompts in order to correctly share things. So it's just really important that we do follow the process. So just quickly going through the email, what we have here is, we can update this if we like, so. Okay. So it's just saying the study was reviewed, it's below negligible risk, it's been approved, okay? This email constitutes only ethical and scientific approval, okay? So our sites need to seek site authorization still. These 2 sites have been approved. Below that are all the approved documents we added on the previous section. Under that is a link to the application documents. This link will download a zip file of these 3 approved documents. It's only active for 2 weeks, so 14 days. But as soon as this is approved, guys, your applicant can look at those documents anyway straight away. They're visible from their point of view in the external portal. We know that this version of the HARIA has been approved, so that's why we don't need to attach it. What we can see here, we've got some colored text. If there's a waiver of consent, great. If not, we delete it. I know I don't have a waiver of consent for this particular application. I'm going to delete this. Okay, so the color text lets you know to keep or delete. Is it a clinical trial? This isn't a clinical trial. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to get rid of that too. I'm reading through. You don't want to send it off with all these ifs or buts in there. So we just want to make sure we're reading it. So this isn't under NMA. I didn't select it. And I'm just going to tidy that up a little bit. There we go. So all I've done, I've had a quick look through the email template. Anything that's colorful, look at it, read it. Doesn't apply, get rid of it. So just scrolling down, I'm happy with this. I've got everything I need in there. All we need to do now is send this email and we're done. Send email, yep. Status updated to approved. Ignore the purple dot. I was playing in Sandpit because I didn't realize we could add colored dots to it. So that's just me playing around. Project has generated. This project means our study has successfully been approved. We've got a project. The applicant can now go ahead and do any post-approval activity